As I mentioned earlier, today is the very first National Day of Action Against Bullying and Violence, and today in Australia a National Safe Schools Framework has been announced to help tackle this issue. And I tell you, it couldn't come at a better time. After this video, many people have seen surface this week, it made the international news and of course opened up the bullying debate again. Now, our inbox just absolutely flooded with personal and difficult stories from you, our viewers. This morning we're crossing to Brisbane to a very, very tough story. Joining us from Brisbane is Tess Nelson and her son Dakota, who was suffering from bullying, so much so that he tried to take his own life. Tess joins me this morning. Good morning, Tess.
Good morning.
Tess, a very difficult situation for you and your family. Did you ever think that Dakota was so frustrated with being bullied that he'd ever try to take his own life?
No, it's not something that I would have expected from Dakota. He just, he must have been having a pretty rough time with it. I know he did talk to me about different things, but as I've always said, he tried to keep my load light too. He was always trying to help me out, but yeah, I didn't realise what he was going through.
Tell me about the lead up to this tragic event when he came home and tried to hang himself.
Well, that day itself, a lot of the stuff that happened that day I didn't know about until after what had happened with Dakota and weeks later when we were already at John Hunter Hospital. The year before that was the worst part of it, when it first started, when he was going to school in Port Macquarie. He was having a pretty rough time with that because he was never a fighter. He liked, he loved to have friends, he loved to hang out with his friends. Skateboarding was pretty much his life, and just coming home upset all the time, bleeding nose, just different things.
So why were the kids bullying Dakota?
From things that I've been told from his friends and just, parents of friends, a lot of the kids just couldn't handle the fact that Dakota was good on a skateboard. He was a very talented artist, and he entered a competition when he went to Toowoomba South Primary, and Australia-wide, out of 56 kids or something, he came 5th in that competition for his piece. I think it was just, he might have had too much talent for some that felt like they had none.
And so it was just a relentless, constant bullying. How did he try and explain this to you, Tess?
He'd come home, he'd tell me about things that certain kids had said at that school.
What were those things?
Just that, like he was a girly boy, or, just simple things like that. Too into his schoolwork, teacher's pet, things, throwing his school bag in girls' toilet blocks. Outright physically hitting him. He'd be attacked in bus line. One day that was what broke it for me for that school, where he came home with another girl on the bus. She brought my 3 kids home and from on the bus, and she said to me, this is what happened, and he literally had toilet paper in both nostrils with blood everywhere, and that was when I rang that school and said my son will never be coming back there.
As we wrap it up, Tess, what do you say to the bullies out there in Australia, and there are many, and to the parents of those bullies?
Stop. It needs to stop. I can't believe how many other kids might go through what Dakota has gone through, what we're going through every day. You can't just do something like that to a person and just move on and do it to someone else when that person's gone. It's got to stop. Someone's got to stand up and take responsibility for what's going on.
Well, today, hopefully, we're going a small step to making a stop on National Day of Action Against Bullying and Violence. Tess Nelson and Dakota, your son Dakota, thank you for your time from Brisbane.
Thank you.
It's a pretty tough story. So let's talk about the issue of bullying, and Danielle Miller, you well know from the program, who joins us, an educator, along with James and Jasmine, who also have experienced bullying. Thanks, everyone. First up, Danielle, you hear that story, your heart breaks.
That's incredibly distressing.
As a teacher, though, you were a teacher for many years, and a lot of people are going, Why can't the teachers do something? What's your response?
Teachers do have a responsibility to create safe environments, and all students should be able to go to school and learn and play. However, the fact of it is that teachers can't be everywhere at once, and what's very difficult is that a lot of this bullying does tend to happen in isolated areas. We know from looking at the research it doesn't usually happen under a teacher's supervision. Often it will happen in the playground, and if you're on playground duty at a school, then you can't be everywhere at once. But what I would say is that schools have a responsibility to create a culture where bullying isn't okay.
And I know we're all trying to create that, but a lot of those messages aren't getting through. James, you were a victim of bullying, and when you saw that video this week of that big boy slam dunking the other kid, what went through your mind?
Well, when I saw it, as I think first came to mind was, you know, good on him. You know, I don't really condone violence, but I could just see Casey, I think his name was just, he's been bullied a lot, and you could just tell that, and then having been bullied again and again, and I think he just got fed up and had enough.
Could you relate to that?
I could. Like, I've never lashed out at anybody, and I think, you know, that's probably a good thing for me because, like,
What happened to you?
Like, everyone, it was mainly because my last name is Jelly, so I did used to be quite large back in primary school, and people just, you know, kids can be quite mean to you, especially, and it's the little things that hurt, you know, things that said behind your back, and even worse, I think, things that said to your face, you know. Name-calling stuff, and it just got to the extent. But, you know, one day I said to myself, look, I've had enough of this. You know what? Fine. Call me Jelly. Call me what you want. You know, you got to have that bit of confidence to say to them and go, stop.
That's such an important message, have the confidence. And Jasmine, you've experienced bullying. What was the worst thing you went through?
Well, probably the worst thing that I went through was when I actually got punched in the face, and yeah, and just being, you know, isolated from all the other students. And
How did you turn it round?
Well, I tried to, you know, keep as positive as I could, and yeah, and then I just, you know, went to school, and I just would find out ways that I could sort of avoid those people.
And why was it happening to you?
Well, that's the thing. I didn't really know why that was happening to me. Like, I'd be like, why is this happening to me? You know, like, there's got to be a reason. Did I do something wrong and stuff? But
so the two of you, having been through this bullying, come out successfully at the other end, what message do you give kids who have been in your position, who are, you know, 2 to 5 years younger than you? James?
Well, I say you got to stand up for yourself. I mean, not to the extent where you're going to go punch someone, but, you know, just have enough. The more it doesn't faze you, the more the other kids are going to leave you alone because it doesn't get to you.
And Jasmine?
It does change, you know, things do get better, and I found out, I ended up learning that you don't have to change yourself, because I tried that so many times and it just kept going, you know. But things do get better, and yeah, you just got to stay really true to yourself.
And Danielle, as we wrap it up, from it, being an ex-teacher and educator now, the single most important thing we have to do today, which is Against Bullying Day.
Yeah, I think it's really important for parents to be really vigilant. So as the mother said, you know, if you notice your child coming home and they have been bruised, if you notice that they're being withdrawn, if you notice that there's changes in appetite, sleeping patterns, academic performance is failing, step onto it straight away. Don't wait. Don't leave things until it's really entrenched and your child's completely distressed about that. You know, we need to be really active and also liaise with the schools to work with them to make things better. The important message too, as both James and Jazz have just indicated, is that things do get better. Often the research shows it happens in late primary.
When you're in the middle of it though, it's like a lot of things in life. Things do get better, but boy, is it tough to drag
and it shouldn't
yourself
be
out
that tough. And I think it is really important that as a culture we say that this is not okay.
And it's
We're
not
not going to turn a blind eye to it.
And as Tess said, it's got to stop, and today is the first day in Australia it's got to stop. James, Jasmine, Danielle, thank you very much.
Thank you, absolutely.